It's sunny drive time.
And I'm back again with an update on the Earthshaker restore here. And it's been a couple of weeks, and I was on vacation, and then I got sick, and now I'm 10 days quarantined at home. So it's a good thing I have a project like this to keep me busy. So yeah, it looks a lot different than it did last time. As you can see, the bottom side is about 100% done now. Did do a lot of work over the past couple weeks. And see, I got my metal braid here, GI done. I actually ordered some metal braid for this thing, and what I got was this. It was cabinet metal braid, so that's obviously not going to work. So I ended up just stripping some wire and making my own metal braid, and had to get the right size stapler here. These are little tiny 6mm staples that normally hold that on. So anyway, I had to order a couple things and got all that together, and yeah, the bottom side of the Playfield is pretty much 100% done now. Got the flippers all rebuilt. Don't think I'd done that in the last video. I think that was after. What else? Yeah, pop bumpers, totally rebuilt them with all new parts. New spoon switches, new coil sleeves, obviously, new metal rings, and then the top side parts you'll see here in a minute, those are all changed. So yeah, I had just a couple wires that I wasn't quite sure yesterday, and one of them was a wire here that was related to the flashers. It was kind of hanging out with nowhere to go, and I realized that it went to it was kind of, the flashers were kind of daisy chained there. So yeah, it's the bottom side, and we'll take a look here and see how the top side's doing. So yeah, quite a bit of work now done on the top side as well. Let's see what else. We already got LEDs everywhere on the machine, so that's already done. Like I said, the pop bumpers here, you can see I experimented with a couple different color schemes, and eventually I just went with the standard white bases, or bodies, and then brand new bases down there too. You can't see them. And I'm going to try out just a standard LED here. Eventually I would like to get the LED rings. I have those in some of the other machines, and I do really like those. It just creates a spot of light here, and I've never really been a fan of that, but for now it's going to do until I can source those and get them on the way. So as you can see right now, I've got some of the plastics down. This is a new plastic. I did get an entire new plastic set. I can actually look at that quick. I have it sitting over here on the table. I got this from Marco's Specialties in the States, and it's a really great set. For the price, I think it's around 140 bucks if I remember correctly. And man, it's got a lot of parts, and it even has this topper piece, which is great. I'll have to make up some brackets for that, and maybe backlight it or something. It might not be possible to actually put it in my basement here, because you see how close my funhouse is here to the ceiling. There's actually not enough room, but I might be able to make a bracket and put it on an angle or something. But yeah, you can see that the plastics from Marco's are really good. They've got a paper backing on them now, and a clear protective foil on them, but been really happy with these so far. So yeah, I've been going through and installing things piece at a time, and did have to replace a switch. This one, I believe, the brand new stand-up switch here was cracked when I got the machine broken. I got a couple flashers I still need to solder back in. I'll get that going. There's one back here as well. I had to get some brand new flasher sockets there. It's one thing to consider with the CPR Playfields is the marked holes for all the things on the back don't really match up that great. That's pretty common, I guess, from what I understand and see people talking about on Pinside. So you don't just want to blindly trust where these little marks are. You can see an example of this, like that's a little burn mark that CPR makes, which I do like. I like that they just do that instead of pre-drilling a hole, because in some of the places the hole was maybe, you know, 2-3 millimeters off. You know, it's more critical in places like here with the slingshots, with the slingshot switches and the bracket for the slingshot. It's not so critical on things like this, you know, these little mounting tabs for these circuit boards. It's not such a big deal there if it's off a little bit, but yeah, I mean, obviously things like rollover switches, your flipper brackets, all that stuff has to be dead on, so just want to be careful about that. If you do get one of these Playfields, be ready to you know, take your time with a pencil and mark where the hole actually needs to be and pre-drill everything. Stuff on the top is pre-drilled to a small diameter, and I am going back and drilling that to a larger diameter before I insert screws into there. And I'm also using a trick that I saw on Pinside. I'm also countersinking those holes just slightly, and that is to remove the clear that's going to be pushed away from the hole with the screw. When you put a screw in there, it's going to put pressure on that clear, and then you can understand that clear can bunch up, it can puddle there. So if you countersink that and remove that clear right at the hole, when you install that screw, it's not going to cause any of those issues, or it should not. I do like the CPR Playfield much better than the Mirko, especially because they route the holes and the slots and then they clear it. You can see that the clear flows over these holes. And the Mirko Playfield, these were all very, very sharp edges because they would clear the thing and then they would mill it. Don't really like that. I did decide to go ahead and I'm going to replace these ramps. I have them installed, but just temporarily. The thing that's bothering me is I did all this work here, and these ramps are cracked, as you see. Bottoms of them are pretty well torn up, so I did go ahead and order brand new ramps over here in the Netherlands. So I'll get those in a couple days. And this ramp here is already brand new. I got that from Marco Specialties. So I did order the big ramp here, which is also cracked and torn up now. So it'll be a couple more days until I get those ramps, and then I should be able to get that done here pretty soon. So while I've been waiting on the ramps to come in, I've been finishing up the painting on the cabinet, and I've got it really close to being done now. I went ahead and all the blue has been repainted, and I'm really happy with it because this blue is a mix that I made up between that purple and that light blue I had, and the color match is really spot on, and it's got a nice gloss blue to it as well, or a nice gloss finish. So right now I'm finishing up here the inside, and as you see, I got things kind of just temporarily out of the way while I vacuumed and cleaned up and touched up these areas in here. This wasn't painted at all in here. I mean, it was painted, but only down to 10 inches, 8 or 10 inches or so of the rail. So I went and painted the whole thing, took the transformer up out of here. So once this is all dry, then I'll reinstall everything here, and I'll finish painting here where the power switch and the tilt bob normally sits. I did remove the tilt bob off the side here, and the cabinet switches, and of course the coin door was already pulled off. Well, it goes without saying, but anytime you buy one of these machines, you should probably look closely at any wiring hacks that have been done in the past. And I'll just say I'm embarrassed that I got to this point in the restoration and had not looked closer at the power cord coming in. But I was having issues with this machine tripping the house breaker here in Europe, which is fairly common. It doesn't really happen in the States, but over here it does. And the way to solve it is to install a current inrush limiter in line with the power wires it comes in. So when I went to pull a filter assembly off, you know, this is normally mounted against the wall here. When I went to pull it off, I found two things, and one of them I've already fixed, but then I decided I better document this and make it part of the video. I found that the ground wire had been cut and was hanging off the side here, not connected to anything. So nothing in this machine was grounded. Really, really bad. Okay, so that's bad enough. What's even worse is that you got the power wire coming in here, going through the fuse. Okay, that's great. But then sitting over here with absolutely no insulation on it whatsoever. This soldered terminal is just sitting here like millimeters away from this metal filter case, which again wasn't grounded. So if this had touched there and I had touched this box in the machine, I would have been shocked with 236 volts, which is what I have in my wall here. That would have been a really bad day. So I'm glad I pulled this thing off, and I broke my own cardinal rule. I mean, when I buy a machine, I always check the power wire. I don't know why I hadn't done it before, you know? Take the power cord and own from the ground here to all the grounds in the machine and make sure you got a solid connection. I hadn't done that, and it looks like I just lost my light. Okay, so there's that. The other issue I see is that they have bypassed the filter here completely. This black wire should be coming out of the filter, and then this other side of the fuse goes into the filter. So yeah, double check your wiring here with this kind of stuff. This is a thermistor here, this green part. This is for your lightning and overvoltage protection. So this is correct. This orange wire should be going here to this terminal, and then the black wire should be on the outside. I have no idea why they bypassed this filter. I think maybe this thing was tripping the house breaker at some point, and they thought that maybe this filter was causing that issue. That's my only guess. I don't know if there's a way I can test this thing to see if it functions or not, but I'm just going to rewire it the way it's supposed to be. And I am going to install an NTC, which is an inrush limiter, and that prevents the circuit breaker in the house from tripping when you power these machines on. Pretty much all the System 11 games I have, I've had to do that too, and this one is no different. So take my advice and learn from my mistake. Always, always, always check your grounds, and good idea to pull this off and just take a gander inside and make sure that nothing's been monkeyed with like this machine had. Alright, so now we've got it situated correctly. We've got the hot wire coming back out of the filter here. We've got the fuse wired up correctly. We've got the ground wire reconnected. And then since I don't like to really depend on the filter boxes getting their ground by or transmitting their ground to the rest of the machine just by sitting against the metal braid, I did solder on an additional ground wire here, which goes to the outside of the case, and that makes sure that the machine has a good ground to all the metal parts. And the way you test that is put your meter on continuity. You got your one lead on the ground wire, the ground lead here, and the other lead touches the metal parts of the machine, the leg, the rail, you know. So you just check everything. Transformer block down in there, obviously really important. So I'll just go through and verify that everything is getting its good ground. Well, here we go. Finally got the new Playfield installed in the machine. And yeah, I threw it in a couple hours ago, and I've just been taking a look at things and seeing how things functioning. As you can see, the attract mode works great. All the lights, did have to just adjust a few LEDs here in their sockets, but nothing serious so far. And one last thing I do want to do is I'm going to pull the boards out here and go over the interconnect board here. So I'm going to pull this interconnect board off and just make sure that the back side of it, that reflow the solder on all the headers, make sure there's no jumpers on the back side of it and that things look good. And beyond that, I think we're in good shape. Take it easy, and we'll keep it updated as we move along.